Agent Legend has been known for its smart automation tools from their text message drips to voicemail drops, video texting, and multi-channel outreach, and now its latest feature with lead intelligence. So, and also another latest drop, there's actually two, the ability to drip text directly via action plans and follow-up boss. So those two updates are why we're here today. And now with the ability to have Kee Technology partner with Agent Legend with our done-for-you drip texting for your workflow. So Steve is joining me today, the CEO of Agent Legend, to share this new update and this conversation. Steve, thank you for joining me today to talk about this new update. So let's start talking about this new update with the ability to drip text via action plans and follow boss. Can you walk through how that works and how this helps agents streamline their workflow in Follow Boss?
Yeah. Thanks, Elena. So we've had at Agent Legend, we've been an integration partner with Follow Up Boss for, almost 7 years. And we had failed to deliver on this integration. And so that kind of hindered our progress in working with consultants like like yourself. And so we've now finally made that adjustment so that everything can be done where you're able to now send drip text directly through your action plans. And we've overlaid those with the existing campaigns that Kee Technology Solutions has already created. So a really sound partnership for those that are exploring drip texting in their business. And so I can show you very, very simplistically, we have all the help docs available for you in our help center at agentlegend.com. Obviously, Elena and her team are phenomenal resources. But for those who have not seen them, I can just quickly share my screen and show you what this looks like specifically within when you're creating an action plan. So like I mentioned, all of these action plans are already set up and created. So instead of you having to start from scratch, build these on your own, we worked with Kee Technology Solutions in updating all of their drip campaigns that are already readily available within Follow Up Boss, where you can now send those messages powered by Agent Legend, but integrated throughout Follow Up Boss. So once you're set up, you never have to go into Agent Legend if you don't want to. But very simplistically, we're simply adding new items within the action plan that you can see here with different keywords in a note. So you'll see here, you just schedule a note and add in the different merge fields that would be itemized here within the text. So you can see scheduled, you can schedule them at specific times, you can schedule texts to go out on a delay as well. And like I mentioned, all of this can be found within our help center here. So we created all of this on help.agentlegend.com for those that are looking to add this capability and functionality directly within Follow Up Boss moving forward.
Yeah. What I love about this update is for those of us who are very familiar with the Follow Boss platform, it's not any sort of learning curve to add the texting drips into Follow Boss. But what I also love about the Agent Legend platform is that it goes beyond this. You offer other channels to be able to communicate with leads beyond text drips, but it's not overwhelming. You have been very intentional of what channels you've selected and how you've designed your platform. So can you explain what those other channels are for communicating with leads beyond drip texting?
Yeah, texts are phenomenal with just overall open rates, right? We all know that. We also provide in a text format, you can send images and you can also send videos. We're working on being able to send audio files as well. That is coming soon, but you have the ability to create more of an omni-channel presence with our platform. So obviously you have the great action plans with email deliverability. We power now with SMS text and MMS text messaging, being able to add videos in there if needed. There's specific use cases where we see really strong response rates by including and humanizing the overall experience. We are working with people at the end of the day. And so we also are able to drop ringless voicemails. So we're able to have our users pre-record those to go out. So you're able to now have the visual elements with the text messages and email capabilities, but also the audio and visual elements as well, included with those other capabilities that are included within our platform. Within Follow Up Boss specifically, how we've baked those in are effectively you can run in parallel a SMS and email action plan, which we just showed you, and then you just activate within Agent Legend the exact same cadence and timing where they kick off just by adding a tag. And so that's where we are able to include the ringless voicemails as well as any video messages in your campaigns as well. So we've seen, like I mentioned, incredible response rates in terms of if you're actively recruiting, nurturing leads, and in the transaction coordination process to, again, humanize that entire end-to-end path to purchase for the consumer.
Yeah, I was just on a mastermind call with past clients yesterday. There was a discussion about whether or not it was worth creating a video text within Newly specifically. Was it worth sending a video text? Are they going to watch it? Are they going to like your face? Should you send it? And ultimately, someone said, look, maybe 1 out of 10 watches it, but whenever so it was one of my past clients. She said, I was NBC reporter for 20 years. And so I am the definition of a skeptic. And she said, I did it only because the team lead told me to. And then one of my past clients told me when I asked her, like, what ultimately led you to decide to work with me? She said, it was the video text. I loved seeing your face and how friendly you were. And so she said, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah.
That was the reason why that one client decided to work with me, even though I thought it was a waste of time. So I love that she shared that story.
Yeah, they're not, you're right. They live in a library, so you can use them
Yeah.
over and over. They're easily repeatable. But think about how many texts we all get. Everybody is now able to send text messages. That's not new, right? That feature was great just so we can have it all included in Follow Up Boss. But now you're starting to see folks wanting to get back to the vocal elements that are included, as well as the human angle, given you never know who you're talking to. And so it's allowing you to put a face to a name. And again, you film it one time and it's just easily repeatable. And like I said, not for everybody, but again, a capability that is certainly at your disposal if that is part of the strategy on your end.
Yeah, and something that you skimmed past that I think everyone missed, I want to point out, is you said that all you have to do is put a tag. So you're saying all you have to do is put a tag and follow boss to initiate those voicemail drops and video texts?
Yep, absolutely. So let me show you really quickly just how these are triggered. So for those that aren't as familiar, so I'm going to pull up profile here in Follow Up Boss, Stevie Houdini. This is what my daughter's right now. I'm a magician for my kids. So Stevie Houdini is the name that we're going with today. All you have to do is I'm going to type in here a tag for, I believe we have open house attendee. So this is great. Again, they just met you at an open house. You're able to add that tag here. And then you'll see here's our embedded app on the right where Stevie Houdini is now turned on. And then I'm going to refresh it here. This is our testing account. And you'll see here now that campaign is firing. So with the delay here, Elena, it may take a few moments for it to shoot into the system, but our clients are able to now go and see this campaign running. If I click in, if I needed to go and see Stevie Houdini running in Agent Legend, this is our system, like I mentioned. I'm going to click over to here. These are the messages that are being delivered. You can see they failed to deliver because this is a fake phone number. But again, here's your ability to send a GIF image, and our voicemail has already been sent out on your behalf. So again, because this does not live natively right now in Follow Up Boss, these two channels, then you're able to it'll filter back in with a note. And so it's updating in your contact card within Follow Up Boss. But right now, we have the ability, like you mentioned, to have those text messages built into an action plan, all within Follow Up Boss. Those campaigns are ready to go with Kee Technology solutions. We have other campaigns if there's other use cases for anybody that's viewing the video here today as well. And then you're able to set up our other campaigns if you want these other elements included as an overlay. And again, they'll just run in parallel with the same timing cadences. Our setup team will help you match those so that it has the look and feel of the same campaign, even though they're running in separate channels.
Yeah, yeah. So what's really cool for our mutual clients is if they're using our open house campaign, and let's say you're using like a sign-in app and they're automatically going into Follow Boss, you record a video, you record a voicemail drop, you can just go into our campaign and add those two tags and have that fully automated. You don't have to manually add the tag into the lead, which is really cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to ask you two questions
Ooh.
because we get these two questions a lot, and I want to know what your answer is. So the first question is with the video texts, people are very skeptical because they've seen it in every other platform. Does the video text actually send them video, or is it just a link that people have to click on to view the video?
It's a video that'll drop in there. Again, short and sweet. The larger the file is, that's where you run into issues on. There's both a sender and a receiver on the messages. So again, we guide our users. Don't film a video that's a minute, 2 minute long video. Keep it short and sweet. We prefer under 15 seconds, and those will
Mhm.
get delivered just like it'll be a video that pops up in that text message format for you. So there's no link that you have to click to and bounce into a web browser or anything along those lines. It'll send over in the actual message.
That's great. Okay, then the second question is why would I use a platform like Agent Legend if it's going to be using a different phone number? I don't want to use a different phone number.
Yeah, so we protect the number within your Follow Boss account, and so we view there's a couple different ways in which people will view their Agent Legend phone number if they're creating another one, either as an assistant that's working as a sidekick for you, or it is framed up as your business number. And so we've built in features that we can also highlight here really quickly, Elena, where we have users that's a common question and how do we solve that? So we actually have a contact card that you can include in your text messages. So let me share this with you really quickly around how to include that. So now you can include your follow-up boss phone number in your messages that you're sending out. And so I'm going to go back to Mr. Stevie Houdini. And so on the right-hand side, you can see, make sure I'm sharing mine here. Here's our, again, the embedded app will show you any of the automated campaigns that are running. And then we also have the ability for you to pre-schedule any text messages. You can, as well as ringless voicemails and videos. So you can do that here where I can schedule this to go out. So a good use case is if you just had a conversation with someone and they mentioned something, maybe they have 3 kids and they got soccer and all these events, a championship game on Sunday. Really good notes, obviously, for you to take within Follow Up Boss, but you could immediately film or record a voicemail. We see a lot of users doing that. And so when they're following up on that next Monday, they can actually record a personalized message and send that over. And it just gets dropped in the voicemail format for the user. But back to this contact card feature, what you're able to do, I just added this into my text message. Here is my personal number. And what this will do is it will actually now include, just like if you've ever shared your contact information with someone else, it does a couple things. Now they can save this information onto their phone. It has your Agent Legend phone number, follow up boss number, and you can include your personal number if that is your preference. But you can also, when you call or text, if they don't save your information, now instead of it showing up as unknown, it'll show up as maybe Stevie Houdini, or Steve Gerten in this case, right? And so if you're ever calling them in the future, it lends a little bit more credibility into who is communicating, so you're not getting the auto declines or anything along those lines. That's how we've bridged the gap so that you can protect the follow-up boss number, deploy the messages on our end, and again, we can have two-way conversations through either channel, again, dependent upon where that lead is actually responding or existing customer.
Yeah, yeah. And another way that, and that's great that you mentioned the V card. Another thing that we mentioned is we consider this extra phone number sort of like a marketing number.
Yes.
And that's the way that we would frame it. And we use this too. We use like an external number for drip texting. We frame it as a marketing number. And then once we transition to the follow-up boss number, that is the personal number. And with the drip texting number, we see an average increase of about 20%, or at a minimum, I shouldn't say average, a minimum of about 20% increase in responses. So you kind of have to weigh the the cons there of, are you that afraid of an additional number that you would want to lose out on 20 out of 100 people that you wouldn't have been able to reach? So just framing it as, hey, other companies have like marketing numbers that they have on radio ads or TV ads. And then once you reach someone, then you're passed on to your specific contact at the company. This is my personal number once you connect with them.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, now let's segue into the second update that people probably forgot I mentioned at the beginning of the call, and that's lead intelligence. So give us a quick overview. What is it, and how does it help agents find the leads that are most likely ready to buy or sell?
Yeah, so I'll highlight why, right? We're traditionally a communications platform. That's what we've been doing for 10 years. But in that 10-year time frame, we've been working with carriers and the TCPA and TCR. The costs of messaging continues to increase. And so we built lead intelligence to enable our users to, instead of a shotgun approach, triggering communications to anyone and everyone based on activities that are flowing through their database. They're just really trying to expand their reach. It became cost prohibitive. And so what lead intelligence allows us to do is bring that rifle approach to the table. And so it plugs directly into the CRM and Follow Up Boss specifically, where we now have a two-way feed into the database. And what we're doing is we're looking at two important variables. The first is going to be first-party information. Elena, that's a lot of what your campaigns and a lot of people's smart lists are all derived off of. It is based off of who's clicking on emails, viewing properties, date received, critical information that you're collecting each and every single day within your CRM. Your data is a treasure trove. And so what we bring a layer of insight into is combining it actually with offline data. So if that prospect or these people aren't engaging with your IDX website, or they're not engaging with your email drips, whether you're using a Real Scout or a Fellow or any of the incredible lead nurturing platforms that are meant to get traffic back to you. If that user is bouncing around from different sites, we're tracking that behavior. We know that they're still, whether they're mildly interested in buying or selling in the near future, or they're possibly very serious about it. We're looking at over 1,600 unique data points. And so what those are, for those that are data nerds like ourselves, you have traditionally the third-party data that we've all been trained on is going to be the 5Ds, right? Death, diamonds, divorce, diapers, diplomas. Those life event behaviors that maybe indicate that somebody is likely to buy or sell. Well, we have over 1,600. And so you think about when we pool all that information together, what that allows us to do is actually gain a really, really sound insight into who's actually ready, who's not. How do you avoid the tire kickers? And how do you make sure that you're deploying email communication to your marketing qualified leads, the folks that they need more time to work their way down the funnel? And then how do we make sure that you're deploying anything that is time related or money related? So whether you have an ISA department, a call center, who are they focused on each and every single day? What smart lists are they working? That is a great use case for lead intelligence, where effectively we just tell you, here are the individuals that are the most likely to transact in the next 90 days. And our data supports that on average, we're seeing a 4 to 8x higher response rate in just engaging with those leads that are scoring the highest. So very simplistically, and we've all seen propensity modeling in the past, and even today. But what we've done is now been able to take both the first party data and third party data, put them together, and make it very, very simple and intuitive to understand how to work your lists directly within Follow Up Boss. And so let me just share with you what this looks like and a couple of the variables that we're pumping in. For anybody that is looking for, there's all sorts of different business models that are out there. And so as those of you who are hearing this and understanding like the power of all of those attributes that we bring to the table, you can reach out to us anytime around like unique traits that might be beneficial for your business. But in its truest sense, we're pumping in two unique custom fields into Follow Up Boss accounts. First is just going to be our score. So this is what I mentioned. You want to understand where in the funnel these leads are. Are they a marketing qualified lead, or are they a sales qualified lead? Let's focus my sales team's efforts and my trip text messages, my ringless voicemails, those that I want to add to my pipeline soon because they're showing those behavior. Again, deploy email. Make sure that those emails are landing in the inbox so that you can consistently bring traffic back to your site, but that's lower cost. And that's where a bulk of your database really is like that's market. They're mostly marketing qualified leads. And then the other piece here is the persona. So because we know you have the first party data, that first party data gives you name, phone, email, but you really don't know who Ashley Johnson is. In this case, we know who she is because we've matched to her household level with our lead intelligence solution. And so we're analyzing her household behavior. And what we do is we bucket them into personas. So for those of you, if you have your marketing hat on and you're developing content, imagine now the power of with Follow Up Boss and collections, being able to have smarter lists designed around buckets of your people. And now I've bucketed them not only based on where are they in the path to purchase, but I bucketed them based on who are they. And now I can speak more intuitively towards them. So in this case, Ashley Johnson is tight budget Trixie. And for those of you, that are using lead intelligence right now, you might know who that persona is. But we actually feed this information into Follow Up Boss, so it makes it simple for you to understand who these folks are. So I'm just going into Wealthy Dad Will. Wealthy Dad Will, this is the sales qualified lead of Wealthy Dad Will. You can see it's a much smarter or a much smaller list. And here is where you're able to understand the nuances of who Wealthy Dad Will is. So his segment falls between 40 and 50 years old, primarily male. They're making over $300,000 a year. They have 4 people in their household, married, and they prefer engaging with people online. And so we have those different traits that now inform that strategy for your communications plan. So that is what is key here is now we've told you exactly who to talk to, sales qualified leads, right? Now we know who they are. And now with Elena's campaigns, we can now develop smarter outreach to them. So think better text messages that speak directly to that consumer, right person, right time, right message. And that is foundational now to what we are doing in relation to how we think about usage, because it gets expensive if you're trying to message everybody. And it's tough to get a grapple on who to message and when to message them. And so we use lead intelligence to enable our users to focus in on the right people each and every single day directly within their Follow Up Boss system.
Yeah, not only talking about expensive in terms of dollars spent, but expensive in terms of time spent. Like
Yes.
your database size grows if it's not already large, which majority of people's databases are, it grows large very quickly. And so whenever you're able to narrow down into your database by segmenting by the score plus the types of personas, it helps you save on the expense of your time by segmenting through these lists and these collections you've shown as an example.
Yeah, and these are just examples, right? There's all sorts of use cases. Like when we're working, what one of the popular use cases is if I'm working in Southern California or in Texas or in those markets where perhaps you have different leads that speak different languages, we can tell you now who's prefers Spanish, who prefers English, and now you think about how you can route those leads. We know who's a buyer versus a renter. We know who's in a market for a home loan. So those are unique that you can just add those custom fields. It comes included with our service. And so all we do again is when we get to kind of how we price what we do, we just bake it all in to your monthly expense. And it's all based on how many people do you want to talk to? And now lead intelligence is baked into that solution. So you have the benefit of the application of not just using it for our service and who you're talking to with the various communications that we can deploy, but a lot of our users view us as like an insurance policy for all the other platforms that are usage based. So if I subscribe to platform A, B, or C that they want me to load my entire database into them, and that might be cost prohibitive for me right now, I have to make a decision as to who to actually load into the system. I use lead intelligence, figuring out who are the best qualified prospects, and I load them in. And so we've seen that use case, and it's been really powerful to just bring more predictability even further than what Elena, your team has already been doing is the smart list, the setup, the automations. But now being able to bring this layer of insight has been really, really impactful to maximize that return on time and return on investment.
Yeah. And I see here you show like 10 personas. Are there more than 10 personas in lead intelligence? Does it vary based on your marketplace? What does that look like?
We keep it to 10. We kind of standardize it to the 10. In some cases, we'll open it up. It depends on who we're working with and what the engagement looks like. When we're working specifically with a brokerage, for example, they want to first know, hey, help me understand who's already in my database. So perhaps if they're recruiting, they can now go out and find agents that align with those personas. Same thing with lead intelligence applies for those of you who are actively recruiting agents. We can analyze those agents and their behaviors as well, so that in your prospecting efforts, no longer do you have to just rely upon the first party data that you might be getting from a market view broker, from a corded.io, from a Realytics. They give you the performance information, but you want the human side of it as well. And you want to understand, do they match the profile and the culture that you're looking to attract as well? And that's the big data world that we live within. And so all Agent Legend is doing is we're going out and buying that information from every time that you go to a website, it's asking for cookies. When you're giving your credit card and paying for things, you're authorizing the reselling of that data to companies like ourselves. We blind all of it, obviously, and we've been able to accumulate a massive data set that, again, brings that personalization into your day-to-day outreach. And again, because we're a communications platform, we use that system to now ensure that you can deliver those messages in whatever medium that you really need to.
That's awesome. Okay, so a question for you. In the past, when I've spoken to companies that have a lead intelligence score type program and they push over, um, information from third-party data, well, really it's just third-party data. This is the first time it's been
Yeah.
first-party data from activity and follow boss and whatnot. Um, I've asked this question. I've said, do you just push it over one time? Are you continually updating it? They go, oh, it's just one time. So I have to ask you, is it just one time, womp womp womp, or are you updating it regularly? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's updated in real time actually. So there's a number of use cases here as well. So for those that get high volumes of leads, that each and every single day you might be getting 50 leads, 100 leads a day. The size of those opportunities, lead prioritization becomes key. And you don't have to. It's not just the ISA departments that really benefit from that. But we're scoring leads in real time as they come in, and then each and every single day we're scoring. So as activities are changing, so if you think about every conversation that's logged, every property that's clicked, those are great data points that ultimately benefit the score or detract from the scoring. And then we're also looking at, hey, what are they buying on a daily basis? Our models, what makes it unique is obviously the real-time feed. So once you've plugged into Lead Intelligence, it's living and breathing out of your FUB system, and we actively manage that. We also build hyper local models, which makes us unique as well. I use the tried and true third-party data sources that are out there, and they would be pooled nationally based models. What we've done is we said, well, the consumer here in my Minneapolis market is much different than a consumer down in Texas, right? Or down in your markets, right, Elena? And so being able to take the relevancy of who's transacted in those markets, this is how we build our models for those that want to know who's transacted in your market, what do they look like, because we know at the household level what they look like. And then all we do is we plug that into your database of the people who have not converted. And now we look for, hey, who's eliciting the behaviors that those other individuals that they were just listing 90 days to 120 days prior to that event happening. Those are the individuals that we want to help you engage with, because I can't remember who it was within the success community, but they had the quote around like the gold is in the old. That is huge. Like we're putting those on t-shirts, right? Is the big opportunity for those that are building their business is yes, customer acquisition is there, but that is very expensive. It's a need and it's a requirement to build your business. But we want to make sure that we can close the loop on that mid to longer term ROI that's in there. You bought that lead at some point in the past, and maybe your competitors have them in their databases. Well, guess what? They're probably forgetting about those that are sitting in the old, and now Agent Legend can come in, point a finger at them, and then it's a matter of what systems do you want to use to engage with them. And there's so many incredible integration partners that are out there, or you just pick up the phone and dial. And our results are speaking for themselves in terms of just having better conversations, because again, you're no longer choosing leads at random, which is like When I ran my real estate business here, it was like overload. The agents would be like, either they said the lead sucked or they just stopped calling because they didn't get the immediacy. And so we're really hoping that they take action on the smarter list that we build for them, on top of all the great filters that you've already included, is really the basic premise of it.
Yeah, that's great. So some fun information to share with those watching. If you happen to be a client of Key Technology, you get special pricing that's discounted from everyone else. So, Steve, do you mind sharing a little bit of information of what that looks like?
Yeah.
I know pricing can change, so I don't want to lock you into the price you see on the YouTube video and then someone's watching this a year later and that changes. But can you share a little bit of a high level overview of what that looks like?
Yeah, because Elena, your team has already came up with the formula of like how to turn on the activations to make sure all of the automations are running appropriately. That takes the burden off of our team, right? And so we can pass those savings along to your users, our mutual users. We love it with how deep that your system actually goes for those users. And so we've waived all of our setup costs. There's no upfront setup costs that are included. It's just a flat, or it's just a monthly rate based on your usage. And so we'll put our rate card out there for everybody. But generally, when you look at your texting providers, there's key things to look at in how our world works, right? So for those that aren't familiar, you have either your usage-based models, which are every text that you send will charge you a fee for that text. We bake that in. We give you, our system has the guardrails aligned with the TCPA. So for those that are very sensitive to that, know that our team has already built those into our system for you to protect you. And so you can send a certain allotment of text, ringless voicemails, emails, as well as video texts throughout the month. We cap some of those numbers, just again, keeping the consumer top of mind, right? We don't want to spam them, but it's just a flat cost per contact. So every month, depending upon the size of your database, the size of your business, you just sign up and subscribe to the one that makes the most sense for you. And that ranges anywhere from 30 cents to about 20 cents, depending upon your volume. And again, we drop those rates for your clients as well. So it's a very, very, very exciting offering for everybody that's involved. We love it because of it's systematized. It is predictable and very, very scalable for everybody who jumps aboard within your brokerage or team ridge, or if you're a solo user as well.
Yeah, I love how predictable that pricing model is because it's hard for someone to know exactly not only how many texts you're going to send a month, but some platforms charge what's called segment. So like how long your text message is like I don't know how long or how many segments my text message is. So and some of ours are 3 segments long. So that takes up like 3 credits or whatever you want to call it. So I love how much more predictable that is. So for those who want to learn more about Agent Legend and want that discounted pricing, you do have to be a Key Technology client, but you can click that link below. If you're on YouTube, this in the description. If you're on social media, on the description or in the comment section, just look for it somewhere. And then, as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, we've partnered with Agent Legend to provide a done-for-you setup. So you can go to Key Technology to learn more about that, or you can book a call. So Steve, thank you for joining this conversation today. If you want to learn more, click the link. You can book a call with Agent Legend to book a demo. And then if you want the done for you services, go to keetechnology.com and definitely check out Lead Intelligence, which is another awesome layer to the platform that they recently released.
Thank you, Elena.